All right, guys, welcome to the Digital Barbell Podcast. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for joining us every week. I'm Jonathan. This is my current wife, Blakely. That joke just never gets old. We're going to be talking about 7 commonly misunderstood principles of fitness in this episode. These are all things training, nutrition, mindset related that people just don't quite understand sometimes. And it was easy to come up with this list because a lot of these things on this list I've misunderstood over the years. So that's what we're going to be talking about today.
That checks out.
That checks out. Before we get to the sponsor, I just want to take a second to brag on a couple of my clients, and maybe you want
I thought
to
you were
also.
going to say about yourself. Okay.
I just want to brag about myself for a little bit. I mentioned on one of the Monday episodes that my client, Jason, that has been training with me for a little over 6 months now, I think, got his first strict pull-ups, actually got several in a row. I think he got 3. My client, Katie, that I've been working with for a long time, got her first strict chin-up this week. Didn't you have a client or two that got their first pull-up or
I had
chin-ups?
Abigail get her first chin-up, and then Brian, her husband, got like almost 2.
Heck yeah.
He's been having like 1 point something, and he's almost to 2. It's just so exciting. It's like
I love it.
One of my favorite things to watch.
Yeah. We have that free program that you wrote about getting your first pull-up. I can put a link to that.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about
in the
that.
show notes. And I forgot about this, but we have to mention that registration is still open, but about to close for Full Body Remodel. The program starts on April 1st. It's an 8-week training program. That's the perfect representation of the Digital Barbell trademarked training philosophy of combining strength training, bodybuilding, and CrossFit style conditioning to get you in the best shape of your life. I've said this before, but I just want to say it again that yes, this is an 8-week program, but if you go through this program, not only will we have a way for you to continue training with us, but you're going to understand a way that you can train for the rest of your life. It is a sustainable way to train that will not burn you out, that you actually enjoy, which makes you stick with it.
I shared this story. I just wrote an email that went out today, but I shared a little story about picking up dumbbells. Like I had a pretty significant back injury and didn't have surgery. Just rehabbed it through strength training and isometric holds and stuff like that. But for years, that was like almost over a decade ago, or a little over a decade ago.
And
11
years.
For years still, the big thing for me was picking up like odd objects, of course, like anything out in the world. Like I would never help him move a piece of furniture or anything like that. But then in the gym, even when I owned my own CrossFit gym, picking up pairs of like heavier dumbbells, like anything like 30, I would say like 35s and up, I was just like, if someone left them or they were out of place, I would actually ask another member or someone else like, hey, can you put those dumbbells back for me? Like I just did not want to lift those. Or, it's 2 different objects in your hand. And it was the one thing I was still like I felt fragile when I was doing that, related to my back. But a lot to say, doing programs like the way we coach, like the Full Body Remodel program, has honestly helped me so much. And just yesterday, literally, I was doing RDLs with the 50s, and I could bend down and get both 50s out of our dumbbell rack at the same time, walk them over to my space, set them down, then start my reps, then put them back. And I was just like, wow, like I feel like I've really come a long way. Like I would not even have touched 50s, even 150 before, much less 2. And, I could do deadlifts and squats and things like that before when I didn't want to pick up the dumbbells, but doing something like Full Body Remodel and these programs that we write has just, I use dumbbells so much more. And that not only helps me like in the gym when I'm doing things like rows and curls and RDLs and things like that, but it helps me outside the gym when I'm picking up odd objects, because that's what we're all doing here is like I don't want to hesitate to like pick up a child if they needed help or or just to pick them up to play with them, to like move something heavy out of the truck, or like pick up my suitcase overhead and throw it in the overhead compartment on a plane. Just things like that where I just like have confidence again.
You want that confidence and strength to climb into the Super Duty.
Exactly.
So this program, we don't release these 8-week programs very often because we're mainly coaching our custom clients, but this one starts on April 1st. Like I said, it's 8 weeks, and we have 2 options available for you. You can join and get all the workouts in our app, record your results, log your results, see your progress, know exactly what to do. That's only $147 for all 8 weeks. or you can have one of the three of us in the company coach you through the entire 8 weeks for $297.
Yep.
Full body remodel, or digitalbarbell.com/full body remodel. Or
you'll see it on the homepage.
It's on the homepage, yeah. All right, so without any further ado, let's get to the sponsor real quick.
Oh, no.
This might be like one of those 30-minute intros. No, I'll keep it short. Today we're sponsored by the Farmer's Dog.
Oh, gosh.
I don't know about you guys. Like, send us a message or a comment and let us know if we're the only ones that just are getting hardcore targeted on YouTube, Instagram.
It's like every commercial break is Farmer's Dog. Like, it's the 5-second one. No living being should ever eat processed food for every meal of their life. And then you can like skip it right there.
Yeah.
And it's just, honestly, it's like I think it's a Rottweiler. It looks like Button's face and everything. It's like looking at the bowl all sad. I'm like, Buttons looks at a bowl of food she's pretty happy about it no matter what's in that bowl. But yeah, the reason he's saying it's sponsored because my family feeds their dog Farmer's Dog, and they just left yesterday, and they left their container of Farmer's Dog, and there just happened to be 2 servings. I don't know if this was on purpose. Maybe Farmer's Dog was like, hey, you should do a leave behind so that the dogs try it. So whatever happened, and our dogs got to eat Farmer's Dog this morning.
So you went on their website and like plugged in the numbers.
I was like, I'm just curious how much this cost. And because it says it's like real food, like cooked just enough to get like all the, bad stuff out of it. Like, no.
Kills the germs.
Just
and
then
like you do
it's
with
like
our food.
To keep the ingredients, as fresh as possible. And they freeze it, and then you like cube it up and give it to your dog in a serving. So they loved it, obviously. Button's like obsessed over the bowl for like another 20 minutes after it was gone, just like looking at it like, that must have been delicious. But it came out to about 80 something dollars for 2 dogs every 11 days.
Yeah. That's like
how many 11 days are there in a month?
About 3. Yeah, so safe to say our dogs will still be getting the kibble that they've been eating since they were born.
And you obviously change the frequency of how much you get, but I'm like, it would not even make sense to give the dog 1 meal of Farmer's Dog and then kibble.
Why not?
I don't know. It feels like it would be defeating the purpose. Like, aren't they just like, you should eat this meal?
Oh, I don't know.
It would be like, okay.
Think about this. What if we switched over to the Farmer's Dog as actually a weight loss method for the dog, and we set a dollar budget, and that's all they were allowed to eat that month was.
They don't need to lose weight.
Buttons could stand to lose a pound or 2.
Anyway,
that's another topic for another day. All right. Well, thanks, Farmer's Dog. We're looking forward to getting our care package in the mail.
I also think it was a setup why some Farmer's Dog got left behind in our fridge. They wouldn't have left our dog's food here on purpose.
Yeah. Why was there a coupon with it?
I got 20% off.
You just use the code.
Use the code Dolly. That's their dog's name.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right. Let's get into today's topic.
All right. 7 commonly misunderstood principles of fitness. Here we go.
Let's roll.
Number 1, you won't make the progress you want without eating enough protein.
You mean protein isn't just like a luxury, like for all the improvements that we want to make? No, I think that is a commonly misunderstood thing that like we know it's important, but we don't really like take that importantness, is that a word, and put it onto our own life sometimes. And I did this for years and years and years, and I've seen so many people do it. Like they'll kill themselves in the gym, and they know that their nutrition is important, but they really don't realize that the thing that's keeping them from getting the results they want is eating enough protein. It really is a non-negotiable. The cheesy analogy that I came up with that Blakely does not like is that doing your workouts, trying to eat clean, trying to eat healthy, whatever those things mean, but not eating enough protein is like trying to build a house, and you've got the contractor on the line. They know when they're supposed to be there. They show up to do the work, and you forgot to order the materials. There's no wood. There's no bricks. There's no mortar. Like everything is ready to go. Everything is in place. You're primed to build this amazing structure, and you have no material to do it. That's what the protein in food does, is gives your body the material to build the muscle that you want, to see the physique changes that you want. So it really, really is important.
I was saying in the sentence it says you won't make the progress you want. So, what is the progress you want? Like, what are people what is the progress people want?
People want to be stronger. They want to look better naked. They want to have more energy. They want to have a ramped up firing metabolism that burns a ton of calories. They want longevity, all those things. They want health, all those things.
We're not talking about like looking a certain way necessarily. We're talking about the process.
I mean, let's just say looking a certain way means like looking somewhat athletic. I think that's what 99% of our clients want, regardless of their age. They want to look athletic. They want to look capable, and they want to look like somebody who puts in the effort that they're putting in. You know what I mean? Like
we just watched Roadhouse last night, the new Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Dude was shredded in that movie. I started looking down at myself and like, you got some work to do, bud.
He almost wouldn't watch the movie because of the cover of the thing. It ended up to be a really good movie. But I was like, I've asked him a few times, do you want to watch Roadhouse? He was like, no, I do not want to watch Roadhouse. I think you thought it was going to be like, what's that, a Magic Mike or something?
I've actually never seen Magic Mike.
But I just like think you were just like so anti-watching Roadhouse. It's pretty entertaining.
I've been that shredded in my life, and it's no way to live. It's no way to live. All you think about is food. You're always looking forward to the next meal. Trust me, however lean Jake Gyllenhaal got for that role, he stayed that lean until the director said, cut, that's a wrap. And then he, boom, put on 15 pounds probably.
Oh, yeah, within the short amount of time that they shot that film. Not that he couldn't still have the muscle mass he built and everything like that, but as lean as he was.
Yeah, he was super lean.
He was super lean.
Okay, so let's just give a quick recommendation. Actually, we have a free calorie and macronutrient calculator that will help you set your protein goal based on your goals. Because not everybody is like, trying to lose weight. Not everybody's trying to... some people are trying to gain weight. So anyway, we have a calculator that helps with that goal. But let's just give a range from between 0.7 and 1.2 grams of protein per day per pound that you weigh. Really muscular active people require more protein because they have more muscle mass. And people who are trying to lose fat benefit from eating more protein too, because it's more satiating and because when you're trying to lose fat, you're in a calorie deficit. And one of the best ways to maintain and potentially even build muscle in a deficit is by eating a lot of protein. So there's a range. But yeah, that is a commonly misunderstood principle.
All right. Mic drop on number 1. Number 2, your body weight is irrelevant.
Irrelevant.
Golly.
Sorry.
Your body weight is irrelevant if your goal is aesthetics or performance.
Yeah. We might have to dig into some mindset stuff on this one. Because for a lot of people, like, if I think back to my own, like times that I have gotten like really shredded or lean or whatever, like I know how much I weighed at that time. Yeah. So that number can be in my head. And if my goal is to be athletic, to be lean, to see visible muscles, like what I'm talking about there is something that I can see in the mirror. And that gets mixed up because I know at times in my life what I have weighed at the time that I've looked like that. So my goal can easily conflate into, well, I should get back down to that weight. But really, my goal isn't to be a weight. My goal is to see a certain thing in the reflection in the mirror. So or
to feel a certain way, to perform a certain way.
Right. The aesthetics was only one side of the equation here. That, your body weight is also irrelevant if performance is your goal. We need to figure out a metric that actually ties to the result that we want to get, so that we know we're making progress towards the goal, and we know when we've gotten to the goal. If your goal is to get your mile time down to sub 6 minutes, we should probably measure your mile time instead of your bench press, or what you look like in the mirror. We need to measure the metric that corresponds to the thing that we're trying to get. Because, there's also, even if it's not like what you weighed when you were like a certain level of body fat at a time in your life, maybe you just have an idea of what you'll weigh or how you'll feel emotionally when you get to a certain weight. And that can start to mess with whether you're being successful or not, or whether you're making progress, or like whether you have worth. Like none of these things can be tied to the number on the scale. We have to zoom out and look at what are we actually after. Are we trying to chase more energy? Are we trying to chase body composition? Are we trying to chase performance? We have to tie a metric to that instead of just what is the number going to be one day when we look down between our toes.
Can we give some examples of some metrics people can use other than a weight? Just depending on what their goal is, obviously.
I mean, practically speaking, if your goal is to look better, we have to use pictures. We have to use what we see in the mirror. If we want another objective thing to see, that is less subjective than what you look like. We can measure different places on our body. We can measure our hips around the largest part of our butt. We can measure our waist an inch above our belly button. We can measure our thighs at their widest point.
And I would say
arms.
Pictures, back to the pictures real quick. It's important to do the pictures, not just like use the reflection, daily or monthly, be like, okay, let me do like a check, because you won't remember and you won't see the changes that are happening, because the changes could be something that you don't remember. And, you see yourself every day. You won't notice those changes if you don't have like a picture, and a month or two later, you have another picture.
Right.
And to like actually put like your front facing one side by side, your sideways one side by side, your back side by side.
Yes.
And compare them.
You can't in
you
between
can't swipe back and forth and see. You
got 75 pictures in your phone in between the last progress pictures you took. You can't.
There's a bajillion of those apps out there where you can like plop 2 pictures in it and make it 1 picture, and that's what we use for our clients.
Yeah,
so like
we use a free one
little
called Photo Grid is the one I use. That's free.
I use Diptyque.
Yeah, that works too.
Yeah.
The last thing I'll say about this is, if you get mixed up and you start using body weight as the metric for success, if your goal is aesthetics or performance, it's going to rob you of enjoying the progress that you're actually making too, because you could be looking different. You could be feeling different. You could be, feeling fitter in the gym, which is all progress that you could be celebrating, but you're not going to, because you're so tied to what's going on the scale that you feel like you're failing. And that will probably lead you to want to give up on the things that you're doing that are actually making you feel better in the area that you want to see progress. So it's a mixed up thing. Let go of your goal weights.
Well, sorry, I interrupted you before. So we're talking about, if our goal is aesthetics, obviously pictures and measurements are good metrics to follow. If your goal is performance, like we talked about before, if your goal is like you said, a running one, then we're going to use running metrics as your goal. If your goal is strength, we're going to use your strength lifts as your goal. Like we're going to get a max bench press, a deadlift, a squat. We're going to test that every few months and see if we're,
or like an AMRAP thing where we're going to see like how many push-ups can we do in a minute.
Or if it's performance based, we might use like repeating a Metcon and like do the same weight, things like that. Like when I'm in my gym, one of the best Metcons to use is called Christine. And it's a 3-rounder. It's a 500-meter row. You can sub in a 400-meter run if you need to. 21 body weight deadlifts, 12 box jumps for 3 rounds. And so it's such a good one to use because of that body weight deadlift. Like your body weight will change, so your deadlift weight will change. And then your performance in the workout will change as your body weight changes.
Are you getting fitter?
That makes sense.
It's going to tell you, are you getting fitter?
Yeah. So that workout is called Christine, if you want to.
And you could even throw like health metrics in here too that have nothing to do with your weight, your resting heart rate, your fasted blood glucose, things like that.
Yep.
All things more important than what the number on the scale is.
Okay. Number 3, fat does not turn into muscle.
Yeah, I definitely misunderstood this one before I knew anything about health, fitness, nutrition, body composition, all that kind of stuff. Because I think like a lot of times we think, well, if I look different and my weight stayed the same, well, then that fat that I had turned into muscle. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
If you weigh that, you like, let's say you're nothing's happening on the scale, but you feel like you're looking different. You think to yourself, well, that fat must have turned into muscle. They're 2 separate tissues. This is being kind of pedantic, but it's a misunderstood thing. Your body fat is stored in these adipose cells all over your body. And as you eat more food than you need, that food is converted into fat and stored in those cells. And the cells get larger as they hold more excess calories in them. That's why you gain fat. Those cells are just growing. In an extreme case, like where you're really overeating for a prolonged amount of time, your body can actually generate new fat cells that you'll never lose. So that's really something you don't want to have happen. And then as you deprive your body of energy, the fat in those fat cells is liberated to be burned for energy, and the fat cells shrink back down. That's what's happening on the fat loss side of things. That fat is just shrinking down. And then on the muscle building side of things, when you work out, you recover, you eat protein, the muscle fibers in your muscles actually break down and grow larger. And there's some research that suggests that muscle fibers can actually split and turn into multiple fibers that then have the potential to grow. But it's widely accepted that the muscle fibers are just growing over time. So that's what's happening when you when you lose fat and you build muscle is they're two separate things. Nothing's happening where one is converting into the other. And this gets a little bit conflated because we talk about body recomposition, meaning like the period of time, especially when you're brand new to exercise, training, and eating well and following a good program, where you're losing fat and building muscle at the same time. Normally that can't happen because they require two separate sets of circumstances. Losing fat requires a reduction in calories to burn body fat. Building new tissue requires a surplus of calories to build that new tissue. So that's why it gets a little bit confusing when we start talking about recomp. But that's actually what's happening is there are two separate things happening. Okay. And because those two situations require two different levels of attention to detail on nutrition is why it's so beneficial for people who are past that new stage to go through cycles of dedicated muscle building and dedicated fat loss, because it really gives you the potential to maximize the benefit of each cycle. Spend some time in a calorie surplus, really kicking butt on the weights and getting stronger, build that muscle. Any fat that you accumulated in size to those fat cells during that process, you can then go back down into a calorie deficit, lose that fat, rinse and repeat for 10 years, you'll be an overnight success. That is how it is done, people.
And I think what you said at the end there, like rinse and repeat for 10 years is important to hear, because it's not something that's going to happen in a short amount of time, unfortunately.
I've told this story on this podcast before, but there was this guy working out in the gym. He had amazing shoulders. I mean, it looked like he had bowling balls implanted on his shoulders, like fill out any shirt, no matter how baggy it is. And this new guy comes up to him in the gym. He's like, dude, your shoulders. What is your secret for shoulders?
What exercise are you doing that I can add to do that?
Is it the lateral raise? Is it the Arnold press? He said, no, you train your shoulders every week for 7 years, and you too can have these shoulders. That is the secret.
And they walk away with their head down.
Or join Full Body Remodel.
How much you eat is irrelevant. How many calories you eat is not.
This could definitely be like one of those tweet posts on Instagram. How much you eat.
How much you eat. How much you eat is irrelevant. How many calories you eat is not.
Yeah. Okay, this can go two ways. The frustrated dieter who is trying to lose weight and they're like, I don't eat that much. What is going on? I'm not losing weight and I don't eat that much. How much you eat is irrelevant. The other side of it is somebody who's trying to gain weight. I'm eating so much, but my weight is just stuck or even going down. What is going on? I'm eating so much. It brings to light the difference between food volume and calorie content. Picture a dollar bill. I should have looked up how big a dollar bill is, and I don't even have a dollar bill on me, but it's the exact same size as a $100 bill.
Yeah.
They take up the same amount of room in your wallet or in your purse. They're the exact same physical size, but one is worth a lot more. Think about that as food. You could have two pieces of food that are the exact same size, but they have completely different values. And what the value is with food is calories.
Yeah.
So that is why how much you eat, the size of the food, has nothing to do with whether you're going to get results. It's how many calories are in the food. And that is one of the main reasons, and probably the main benefit of a time where you log your food, you weigh and measure it, you type it into an app, and you bring awareness to those tiny little foods that don't take up any room in your stomach that have a ton of calories in them. I'm looking at you, peanut butter.
And not only logging your food, but weighing and measuring in that short amount of time. Like think about your lifespan of eating. Like if you're doing this for this short amount of time, it's kind of like don't go in half-heartedly. Like if you're going to be logging your food to bring awareness, also weigh and measure it, because that is also just as important as logging it, so that you have the accuracy. If we're just estimating, that was probably like half a cup.
Yeah,
we're not really doing anything over here in the logging process.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're trying to be really accurate, you're not going to be. So be as accurate as you can, accept the fact that you'll be a little bit off, but the more you wing it, the more you will be off. So let's take an example. I did a little sample day of eating for somebody who potentially feels like they're not eating much but can't lose weight. You ready for this? All right. Breakfast. We hit the Starbucks. We had a latte and a muffin, and I even went conservative. We're not going with like the what do they call the big boy, the Trenta, something like that, the 30-ounce double. We were in a coffee shop the other day and I heard somebody order a caramel latte with extra caramel. I was like, whew, that's going to be a sugar bomb right there. But I didn't even go with that. This is a regular latte and a Starbucks muffin. Boom. That's breakfast.
All right.
Guess what? I'm still hungry because like most of that I drank. You know, the muffin was really small. So mid-morning, I have a little handful of mixed nuts. What's the harm? They were sitting there on the countertop. Big deal. But guess what? Like less than an hour later, I was hungry again. So I grabbed 3 of those little Dove chocolates. I was really only planning on having one, but man, like I had that taste of chocolate in my mouth and I had to have a couple more. All right. I was kind of feeling guilty about the chocolate, so I knew I needed a healthy lunch. I went to Chick-fil-A and I got the market salad with grilled nuggets. I didn't even go for the fried. You know, not that filling really, because there was only like 6 grilled nuggets on there. And let's face it, salad isn't that filling either. So after lunch, I was still hungry, but I knew I couldn't eat a lot. So I just grabbed a small handful of these little chocolate covered pretzels, popped them in my mouth. I was done in 90 seconds eating those little bad boys. By the time dinner rolled around, I was hungry. Because if you think about everything I've eaten up until the day, everything is like small. It's all these little things. You know, I needed to unwind too because I was stressed from thinking about all this stuff. So I went ahead and poured myself a glass and a half of red wine. Nothing bad. You know, it's not like I was like getting schnockered or anything. And the family wanted pizza, but I knew pizza was not something I should be having a lot of. So I only had 1 piece of pizza. I watched my family destroy an entire pizza and I only had 1 piece. Self-control. But guess what? I was still hungry after that piece of pizza, but I didn't like go for another piece. But before I went to bed, I did have 1 small cup of ice cream, just a cup. I mean, like an actual serving, which is like insane. I mean, who eats a serving of ice cream?
I'm only laughing because of the way you're telling this story.
And the Academy Award goes to. All right, so that was not a lot of food.
It was honestly not a lot of food.
It sounded like a lot of things, which it could have been.
Small amounts of food that you were probably like still hungry after each.
Buckle up, people. That was 2,500 calories worth of food. And if you're a female trying to lose weight, that's significantly more calories than you're probably trying to eat during a day. And all it really did was make you hungry throughout the day and probably obsess more about food. The other side of this conversation is you could easily eat 2,500 calories in one meal if you go out to a restaurant and you don't even have to splurge, honestly. But go out to a restaurant that's slapping the butter on there and you get a fatty cut of meat and you have the fries or whatever, boom, there's 2,000 to 3,000 calories. You could eat one meal a day and still
not eat a lot of food.
Not eat a lot of food throughout the course of the day. Anyway, I say all this to say there's a difference between high volume food and high calorie food, and people who are successful in losing and maintaining weight loss over the long term find a balance of high volume, low calorie foods that taste good, that they can work into their lifestyle and that they enjoy. And then sometimes they have stuff that is just completely not high calorie or high volume, low calorie food sometimes. But most of the time they're eating high volume, low calorie food. That's the way that you can eat a lot and not gain weight or even lose weight. I don't know what else I want to say about that because I'm kind of tired from my performance.
Should we take a break here? Do an intermission.
The last thing we're going to say about that is watch out for stuff that's, processed in a way that it has more calories in it for the volume versus the unprocessed version of it. It takes 3 full-size apples to make a cup of apple juice.
Yeah.
I could easily drink a cup of apple juice and not even register to me. You can't sit down and eat 3 apples. Your stomach will explode. Stop you. All the fiber and the water in there, holy smokes. So watch out for stuff like that if you feel like you don't eat a lot, but you're struggling to
and I would say watch out for like the toppings / what things are cooked in as well for like these like what you're talking about like higher volume foods of like we could have a decent plate and then put enough on it to you know what I mean like put a topping on it that's fairly high in calorie.
Topping like Thousand Island dressing or even just like you said the oil that it's cooked in. If you look down after you've cooked something and there's still a bunch of oil in the pan, those calories in the oil that's still stuck to your food, they don't register as making you feel like you ate any extra food, but darned if they don't count towards how many calories you ate for the day.
And this is particularly true at restaurants when you're eating restaurant food.
For sure.
All right. I think we killed that one. Number 5. How many workouts you do is less important than what you do and how hard you do it.
Yep. Think about this while we're just rolling with the performances. If you invite somebody over to your house because you're going to spend some quality time with them, you're going to like, I'm dedicated to spending more time with this person, and then they sit there on their phone the entire time.
Or you sit there on your phone.
Or if you sit there on your phone the whole time playing Candy Crush, if that's still a thing, you spent that time with them.
Yeah.
It counted. Like you were there, they were there. You know, they can't say you didn't. You were there. You were there. But did you really do anything? Do you really did your relationship get stronger? Did you learn anything new about that person? Do you feel closer to that person? Did you get anything out of it?
Yeah.
Nope. Even though you put in the time. And that's exactly what we mean by this one.
That was a good, what do you call these little things you're
Analogy?
doing? Analogy. That was a good one.
Stepping it up over here. So, this is super common when we start working with somebody new and we start digging into their past and finding out what they've done before, is that they are working out. They're doing workouts. They're going to the gym. They're putting in the effort, but it's really that time spent with a friend where they're not getting anything out of it. And that's the main way that we can take somebody who is willing to continue going to the gym, give them the structure to follow, and get a way different result. Because we now can get quality time in the gym, doing the exercises that matter, putting in the effort that matters, and getting way more out of it.
We give this example a lot, but it is we get a lot of people who come to us and are like, okay, my workout plan is I go into the gym and I do 3 sets of 10 of bench press at this weight. I do 3 sets of 10 of curls at this weight. I do, they're doing the things. I do the rows, and then I do 20 minutes on a treadmill. Here's my plan. Here's what I've been doing. Why isn't it working? And maybe at one time they were getting some intensity out of that. It was
hard at some time.
It was hard at some time, and then their body has acclimated to it, and it's no longer a hard, intense effort for them. They just are kind of going through the motions. So that's kind of one side of it where there's just, you just don't know you don't have a plan or a way to progress yourself. And the other side could just be going into the gym and not really putting in not having the heart into it.
Just going through the motions.
Just going through the motions and then checking the box and saying, I did it.
I did that for a long time.
Expecting things to change when...
I mean, unless somebody comes to us brand new and they're not working out at all, then anything they do is more than what they've been doing. But it's so rare. I can't think of any of my clients right now that when they started with me, I found out that they were working out X number of days per week. I'm like, oh, well, there's the problem. We just need to add more days. No, we need to take the existing time that you already are dedicating to the gym and turn it into something that's going to get you results. It's not
add a plan, add intensity,
right.
add the progressive overload, add all the things that it takes to make those changes.
If somebody sends us a message, they're like, I'm working out 3 days per week. Do you think I should be working out 4 days or 5 days? Well, I don't know.
Right.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah.
How hard is it for you? What is the structure of your training program?
Yeah. All right. Number 6, you'll never reach a fitness or physique goal by doing what sounds good that day. I came up with a good analogy for this.
Oh, bring it.
Oh, yeah. Because I just remember the days when we used to go to something called 24-hour fitness. I don't even know if they have those anymore, but now it's Planet Fitness, all those type of gyms. And you walk in and the options are endless. There was a swimming pool. There was a room where people were riding bikes. There was a group classroom. There was treadmills and bikes and stuff.
Ellipticals.
There was the machine side. There was the ab side. I mean, and we fell into this. We walked in every day at the same time, went in there.
What do we want to do?
And it's I might go do a few sets on this machine and then walk on the treadmill. That sounds good today.
That sounds good today.
Or maybe I'll do the spin class today, or maybe I'll do a few laps in the pool. Whatever. It's just if you just rely on what sounds good that day.
Guess what you're going to do if you rely on what sounds good that day?
The easy things.
You're going to keep doing the things you're already good at, and you're going to keep avoiding the things that you're either less good at or that you don't enjoy. And you're just going to feed into the same results that you've been getting. And I'm guessing if you're going to the gym, it isn't just to maintain what you already have.
Yeah.
You're interested in making some progress in other areas too.
Oh, I have this just came to me. I hope my client won't mind me giving her a shout out. Kristen. I was watching her video yesterday, and she was doing some back squats. We've got the big boy plates on there. We've got 45s on both the sides. She's busting out some sets of back squats. And I'm like cracking up at her video because she's in a big gym. There's like, she's over here squatting, and there's guys, happen to just be guys all around her. And it was like, one guy was doing curls with the barbell, just the barbell.
And the squat rack? I
don't think he had a squat rack. He was just doing the curls with the barbell. One guy was over here laying on some machine doing some fly stuff or whatever. One guy was like doing pull-ups or something like that. Anyway, can't remember where I was going with this story.
But she had the 45s on there.
She was over there doing, in her comment, I was kind of laughing at your video because you're over there like busting out these squats, with the barbell, and like look at all the people around you or whatever. And she was like, I never liked squats. Mm-hmm. I never liked squats.
Right.
And it's just like, but she's been practicing them. She's doing the physique program, and she is liking to do squats now.
But left on her own, if she didn't like them, she never would have.
Yeah, she wouldn't have walked over there. She wouldn't have grabbed the barbell. We wouldn't have progressed to where she's doing 135-pound back squats now.
That's a great point. And this is personal to me right now because forever I said I hate running, and you would never find me voluntarily just go out to run. And then we set this challenge back in December. I had to run a certain number of miles per week. And guess what, guys? I actually enjoy, don't let anybody know this, but I'm actually kind of enjoying running.
Yeah.
And I have another goal this month to run a certain number of miles per week. And I bumped it up from where it was last time. And I don't dread running now. It's something that if I hadn't have had a program to follow, and if I just continue to say, I don't like running, I'm not going to do it, I wouldn't now know if there's something else that I enjoy besides doing curls and tricep extensions.
Yeah. And we started that goal because we both know it's something that we didn't like doing. I was like, one of the things, the hole in our game is we don't like running. We don't run on purpose unless it's 200 meters around for a workout or something like that.
No, we don't like doing long distance.
Yeah. And so it was just this will be a good challenge. And like you said, it's
and now we've committed to doing a 10K this year.
At first it was not something that you even wanted to do, even when it was December when we were doing that thing. Yeah. And then over the month we progressed to I kind of like doing this.
True story.
Interesting.
The last thing I want to say about this one is if you're just going into the gym, because this misconception was that you'll never reach a fitness or physique goal by doing what sounds good that day. Yeah. And the missing piece in most people's results, besides what we just talked about with effort and having a structure to follow, is getting stronger. Mm-hmm. How are you going to know for sure that you're getting stronger unless you're keeping track of what you're doing? And I guarantee if somebody is a person who just goes out to the gym or goes to the gym and does what feels good that day, you're not keeping track of what you're doing. And you're not ensuring that you're getting stronger through progressive overload. There's got to be some structure to make sure that you're making progress.
I made some progress in that arena on our little month-long journey in the trailer. I have always been a journal writer for my workout plans. I have endless journals in this cabinet right here of decades of working out, and I won't throw them away, but I also don't reference them.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I have done.
How could you look it up?
A workout that comes back up, and I would be like, what year was it that I did that? Find my journal for that year, so during the month I brought my workout journal, but I didn't want to drag it out. I don't know. I just didn't get it out of the trailer when we went to work out, and I logged in the app, and I have found myself enjoying that because now I'm I can click the exercise history button and be like, oh, I did this weight last time.
Imagine that, just like we preached
and
to our
clients. And I did this many reps. And I do look back at the day, last week when I'm doing the journal method, but I really won't look back further than that week. It won't tell me oh, you've done this before.
Yeah.
So anyway, have a plan and have it written down with some notes too. If you write your weights and reps and some notes, it's not only helpful if you have a coach for them to read that information and be like, oh, okay, you said that by rep 10, you were really starting to struggle on form, but you went ahead to rep 12, whatever. And if you write that down for yourself, you also remember that. And so maybe it's okay if you get 12 reps again, but this time it was much easier to get to 12 than it was last time. You don't really remember all the little details week to week to week.
Yeah.
So it's good to have it written
You think
down.
you're going to.
Yeah, you think you're going to, and then you don't. All right, last one. Mental toughness is the most underrated skill of getting in shape. That's it. Podcast over. True story.
When we were on the Optimal Agency podcast, they asked like what's the main thing that holds people back from getting in shape and like doing the things that they know they're supposed to do with their nutrition and stuff. And the answer wasn't like, well, people don't know the correct amino acid profile that they should be getting from their chicken, or like people put their elbows too far forward in the curls and they're not maximizing the number of muscle fibers. No. The challenge is, how do we make the hard choice in the moment? How do we do the hard thing? How do we build mental toughness? Because if you can do that in the gym, it's going to translate over into every aspect of your life, amplify your results in your life. All this is about becoming a better person. If your goal is to become a better person, you will much more likely reach your fitness results and have a positive impact on everybody in your life and see it spill over into so many other places in your life.
I think you could also change this as like mental toughness is the most unexpected benefit of getting in shape.
Yes, that is great.
Because it's not why we go to the gym. I would say you could poll 100 people and no one would say, I went to the gym on January 1st because I wanted more mental toughness.
Yeah.
No one's going to say that. No one knows that's what they're going to get.
Man, that's a great point. Okay, future.
I just wrote it down because I was like, this is good.
I mean, that could be a whole podcast episode, is the most unexpected results of getting in shape.
Yeah.
Yeah. And building mental toughness falls under the umbrella too of avoiding the all or nothing mentality, because that like immediately pushes us into the victim mindset, which is the opposite of mental toughness. And this isn't just about being like, Jocko, or just somebody who acts tough all the time. This is about when you read something in your workout that you know is going to be hard to do, but you
do it anyway.
You start anyway, and then you get to the end of it and you prove to yourself that you can do it. It makes it easier to do it next time because you've proven to yourself that you're tough and that you can do hard things.
And then that translates to things that happen out in real life to you.
I'm just distracted by the fact you have a broken microphone stand over there. That microphone stand could use some toughness.
Hang on, I had something else, and I was going to say while you were saying that, and then
you made a wax on something.
No,
think of another sponsor.
No.
I mean, I think that my mental toughness in working out grew the most when I got stronger. Like even after doing CrossFit for 5 years, I didn't feel mentally tough. Even though I did tons of hard things doing CrossFit, it wasn't until I added 150 pounds to my back squat that I really felt like I had mental toughness, because it is extremely mentally challenging to know that you have to go into the gym after a long day of work and do 3 sets of 5 squats that are going to be hard on the first set, let alone doing all 3 sets.
But we're talking a lot about like what it's like to get through a hard workout. And that's not what this is that we're talking about here by the benefit that you get.
Yeah.
The benefit that you get is the mental toughness that you get to face everyday life. The little things that worry you, the little disruptions that come up, like I got a flat tire or whatever it is. Like I twisted my ankle now, or like this is happening to this family member. Like the examples could be endless, but it's how you face and are able to deal with the everyday life challenges that come at you. You get from the mental toughness that you build in the gym.
Yeah.
And it's like we could do a podcast every day for a year about this topic, and people who haven't actually experienced it wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And it's weird. It's a weird thing. It's like one of those things that you have to like break through the barrier for whatever reason. It's like you just have to try it and to experience it for yourself. I think we could talk about it forever. And if someone doesn't ever attempt to do tough things regularly in their life, going into the gym, walking into the gym, doing things that you don't want to do, pushing through a workout that you didn't think you could make, having these victories, writing these notes down in your journal, writing them to your coach, like, I didn't think I could do this, but I did it. Like all of these little things like add up, and they build this mental toughness for the rest of your life that you have no idea that's going to happen. And like I said, I think it's like if you have a person in your life that you love that has like an addict or whatever they are, like, and you just want something so bad for them. You're like, if you just try this, come to the other side, I promise it'll be better. It's like kind of that feeling of like, you won't know what it feels like until you've experienced it for yourself.
And like, let's say you're intimidated by this idea, like, man, like, I don't know if I can do these hard things. Look at it as a practice. I've said before on this podcast that whatever you practice in your life, you're going to get better at. If you practice pushing through and doing hard things, they're going to become easier because everything gets easier with practice. If you practice making excuses, it's going to become easier because everything you do in life gets easier with practice. So you get to choose what you want to get better at, and know that you're going to improve, and that it's going to get easier the more times you put in the reps and do the hard thing.
What if I said the way to practice is in the month of April, do a number of burpees for the month?
I knew burpees were going to come up in this at some point.
And you think about that idea and it like disgusts you, and you're just like, there's no way I would do that. There's no way I could try that. There's no way I could get through that. But every day you just have to do one more. On April 5th, you only have to do 5. On April 4th, you did 4.
Yeah.
You can easily do 5. On April 8th, you did 7 on the 7th. You can easily do 8 today. And like, that's how it builds.
Yep.
And you could even just do this test. You don't want to do anything else. You could do this test for the month of April. And if you get to April 30th and you're like, I just did 30 burpees. I can't believe I did that. And you're walking proud on May 1st and you're like, who can touch me? You would experience what we're talking about.
Did you just give away what the member challenge for April?
I don't know. I just came up with that right now. So maybe that's going to be it.
Members are like, unsubscribe.
I need to cancel.
I had something come up this month. April showers bring no burpees. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed these 7 commonly misunderstood principles of fitness. Please take advantage of the chance to jump into full body remodel on April 1st. You'll never find a lower barrier to entry to jump into the Digital Barbell family for sure. If you have any questions about what the program is going to be, ask us, but ask quickly because we don't want to be working on Sunday night getting people ready for this thing. So send us a message, go to digitalbarbell.com/full body remodel and jump in. Choose the coached option. Come work with one of us. You'll like it. All right. You guys enjoy the rest of your day.